Hi, my name is Megan Higgins, and I'm a member of LifeBridge AmeriCorp. I am a financial literacy coordinator serving at the Jackson County Public Library. You can find me at both the Ripley and Ravenswood branch throughout the week. Tonight we are talking about fraud awareness and being scam smart. The objective for tonight is to learn what fraud is and how people commit fraud using scams, and also to learn what different scams you may encounter in your life. We will also learn what to do if you are encountering a scam or fraud, or you are the victim of a scam or fraud. What are frauds and scams? Frauds and scams are types of deception used to steal money and/or personal information, and they differ in how they are carried out. Fraud involves stolen information that was taken unknowingly and without permission from the victim. This is done with skimmers, stolen credit and debit cards, and stolen identities. Scams manipulate victims into willingly providing their personal information and/or money to the person they're stealing it from. They use psychological tactics, phishing emails, fake social media accounts, and too good to be true offers. Technology having become as amazing as it is, it's became a potent tool for scammers, and it makes what they do to victims so much easier. AI is also a new tool that we see scammers taking advantage of. Fraudsters rely on illegal access, and scammers rely on psychological manipulation. Common fraud examples. You have identity theft. This is one most people know. This is where victims' personal information is stolen and or used to make unauthorized transactions. It can be used to open new accounts, take out loans, commit crimes, and other things. And it's all done in the victim's name. Another one is unauthorized credit card use. Thieves steal a victim's credit card information and make fraudulent, unauthorized charges to it. Then you have tax fraud. This is where criminals file false tax returns and claim refunds in your name. Investment schemes are fraudulent investment opportunities. One big one nowadays is cryptocurrency schemes. This is where they promise you high returns but only deliver financial losses. Then you have insurance fraud. Thieves submit false insurance claims and receive payout under your name, or they'll say you hit, like if it's a car, they'll say you hit them even if you didn't. Then you have mortgage frauds. This is where dishonest borrowers misrepresent information to secure a mortgage or obtain more favorable terms from the lender on those mortgages. Understanding common examples of fraud is crucial for recognizing potential threats and taking the needed proactive steps to secure and protect your identity, your finances, and your personal information. Now we have common examples of scams. Scams can take many different forms, but they're all designed to exploit the trust and vulnerability of their victims. You have tech support scams. Scammers impersonate tech support agents to gain access to their victims' computers. They might ask you for remote access or login information, or to send them emails with certain files or logins or bank info, identity info. You don't want to do this. Phishing. This is the common scam which involves deceptive emails that to the victim will appear legitimate, thus tricking them into providing or revealing sensitive information. With generative AI and deepfake messaging, this has made it even harder to combat against phishing scams. This is also where you get the emails where it's like a Nigerian prince offering you money from an offshore account if you send them so much money to help them get to it. That is one that most people know. Next up, you have prize scams. Victims are told they have won a prize or the lottery, but must pay a fee or provide personal information to claim their winnings. If you didn't sign up for a lottery, you haven't won the lottery. And if you didn't sign up for a giveaway, you haven't won the giveaway. They try to get people excited, and common sense goes out the window, and that's where they get you. Then you have romance scams. These are also known as sweetheart scams, and the scammer starts fake relationships with fake personas to gain the victim's trust and then eventually asks for money or more personal information. The scammer usually doesn't even look like the person in the photo. They might not even be the same gender or age. They try to make it somebody that they know people will easily fall in love with. Other common examples of scams are online marketplace scams. This is where a fraudulent seller offers products online for people to buy, but then the product never comes. On the other hand, tricky buyers will overpay people for items with a fake check or money order, or even a fraudulent cash app transfer, and ask the victim to send it back the difference, which this usually is sent back to a completely different account that they have set up. And sometimes they'll pay with a card or an account from another victim they've already scammed. You have debt collection scams. This is fake or illegitimate debt collectors, and they'll threaten criminal charges to scare victims into making payments to them. Most debt collection cannot arrest you if you have not made payments. Never let somebody tell you that they're going to have you arrested, because it's just not true. Next, there's debt settlement and debt relief scam. These companies often promise to renegotiate, settle, or in some way change the term of a debt you owe to a collector. Dealing with these companies can be risky and could leave you in more debt than you started with. If you want to refinance, I would recommend getting a hold of the place that your mortgage is with or your car payment is with. Never trust a third party. Then you have travel scams. These are fake vacations. This is where you might get an Airbnb, but when you get there, it's a field in the middle of nowhere, or it's someone claiming to be a travel company and they've got everything set up for you and they tell you to pay and then you don't have anything. That's usually how those travel scams work. Then you have social media and imposter scammers. These people impersonate someone the victim knows or post phishing links on social media apps for people to click on. When they impersonate someone the victim knows, they ask them for money and try to play on their emotions, thinking it's somebody they care about. Job hunting scams. These usually require fees or personal information. You'll see these a lot on social media. They might be like, work remote from home, be your own boss, make your own hours. There are jobs like that, but they're very hard to come by, and they're not usually going to be on a Facebook post and just have a random cell phone number. I would not trust those. Use legitimate job search sites. Then you have, this time of year, holiday shopping scams. These are fake online stores that people have created, and they usually have items that they know are very popular, and they offer them at a cheaper price than where you can regularly buy them, in hopes of getting you to buy one, and then, like online marketplace scams, they're never delivered. We have even more examples of scams because sadly there's just so many. Charity scams. This is where people pose as a real charity or they create a fake charity to get money from you. These scams are seen more around the holiday season or after large natural disasters. If you want to donate to charity, do your research and find one that you can trust. You have blackmail scams. This is where a blackmailer's mission is to scare you into sending them money. They threaten to disclose and distribute private content, usually from your phone or computer, or stuff that was shared with them by email, text, or on social media. These people can be complete strangers or even someone you met online. If it's not something you want people to see, you probably shouldn't share it. That's one of the best ways to avoid blackmail. Next up is grandparent scams, which AI has made it easier for scammers to do. They can clone voices and alter images of family members to these grandparents or older people, and they think it really is that person, and they send them money because it's someone they care about. Next up, you have foreclosure relief mortgage loan modification scam. This is a scheme to take your money or even your house by making a false promise to save you from foreclosure. They ask you to pay upfront fees and make empty promises. They may even ask you to sign over the title of your property or the paperwork, or give you paperwork you don't understand. Here are some key terms for fraud and scams. First up is elder financial exploitation. This is where it is illegal or improper to use an older adult's funds, property, or assets. It is the most common form of elder abuse, but only a small fraction are ever reported because it's usually done by family members and sometimes by complete strangers. The strangers gain trust of older adults and start taking their money from their accounts and stuff, or they get the older adults to write them a check or hand them cash itself. Next up is the foreclosure relief scam. This is also a mortgage loan modifier scam, and they're schemes to take your money or your house, as we talked in the last slide. So they'll make the false promises of saving you from a foreclosure that you may not even be in, and then they ask you for money or ask you to sign over the title or fill out some kind of paperwork that is in the long run going to take your money in your home. Next, we have fraud alert for prevention. This term is something you can use to reduce the likelihood that you will be a victim of new account identity theft. This requires creditors who check your credit report to take steps to verify your identity before they open the new account. It's issuing an additional card or even increasing the credit limit on existing accounts. When you place a fraud alert on your credit report at one of the nationwide credit reporting companies, the company must notify the others. And there are two main types of fraud alerts. You have initial fraud alert and extended alerts. And members of the military have an additional option available to them known as an active duty alert, which will give service members protection while they are on active duty. Next, you have fraud by fiduciaries. A fiduciary is someone who manages the money and property of someone else. For example, agents under a power of attorney or even a court-appointed guardian are known as fiduciaries. And when you are named a fiduciary, you are required by law to manage that person's money and property for his or her benefit, not your own. And when a fiduciary spends the money for his or her own benefit, this is known as fraud. Next, you have identity theft, which we have mentioned before, but I wanted to go a little more in depth. Identity theft occurs when someone steals your identity and is considered a form of fraud. Stealing your identity could mean using personal information without permission. They could be using your name, your social security number, bank account information, or even a credit card number. And the Federal Trade Commission has information about preventing and stopping this, and their website is www.identitytheft.gov. And you can find things on there on how to protect your identity. Next up is an imposter scam. Imposter scammers try to convince you to send money by pretending to be someone you know or trust, like the sheriff or the local, state, or federal government employees, a charity organization, even a loved one. Remember, caller ID can be fake. They have programs that can go in and change the ID on numbers to make it look like something it's not. You can always call the organization or the government agency back and ask if the person you spoke to worked there before you give any money. So always make sure you get a name and, if possible, an ID number. Next up is mail fraud. Mail fraud letters look real, but the promises are fake. A common warning sign is the letter will ask you to send money or personal information now, and then you'll get something valuable after you send it. I wouldn't trust these, and if it's something that you think might be true, like maybe you signed up for something, I would call the company and make sure this is real. Next up is phishing. We have talked about this before as well in past slides, but I wanted to go more in depth on this as well. It's a scammer impersonating a business or a person to trick you into giving out your personal information, and they're after things like passwords, credit card numbers, or even your bank account information. And a scammer may use fraudulent emails, texts, or websites to steal this information from you, and it always looks authentic, so you always want to double check and never click on a link you do not trust. Another key term which could help you is security freeze for prevention. A security freeze prevents new creditors from accessing your credit file and other opening accounts requiring a credit check in your name until you lift the freeze. So if someone steals your identity and they try to open a new credit card or take out a loan, if you have your credit frozen, they can't do it without going through extra steps. Because most businesses will not open new credit accounts without checking your credit report, a freeze stops identity thieves from opening these accounts in your name. But be mindful that a freeze does not prevent identity theft from taking over existing accounts. There's other steps you must do, which I would talk to your loan company or your credit card company to figure out what those are. Next up, we have a spoofing. Spoofing occurs when a caller disguises the information shown on your caller ID and gives the caller the ability to disguise or spoof the name or number that appears as though they are calling as a certain person or company at a specific location. So West Virginia, we have the area code 304. By spoofing, someone calling from Texas could change their number to a 304 number, or a scammer could change their name to a bank or a government agency. Next up is wire or money transfer fraud. This is where some scammers trick you into wiring or transferring money to steal from you, which scammers do. They try to play on you mentally and get you to do stuff willingly, unlike fraud where they steal it unknowingly. But one common example of a wire transfer fraud is the grandparent scam again. This is when a scammer poses as a grandchild or a friend of the grandchild, and they'll call and say they're in a foreign country or trouble or hurt, and they need money right away to fix this problem. How to spot frauds and scams. My favorite term that you'll probably hear more times than you care to count is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. As we go through this slide and the next one, you'll see you have the prompt, and then you'll have what you hear and the truth. So this is just things that you might get a call or a visit about that is a fraud or scam, and some things that they'll tell you and you'll hear a lot. And then the truth tells you what it really means. So first we have the promise or guarantee of riches, so money. What they're going to tell you is you never have to work again. There's no risk. You're guaranteed to make money. The truth behind it is, though, all investments carry risks. Anyone who tells you there's no risk to an investment is not telling you the truth. In these cases, you always ask questions about where the profit comes from and what the risks are. Next up, they might pressure you to act right now. They're going to say things like, this is your chance to get in on the ground floor, or if you don't take this, someone else will. Well, the truth behind that is fraudsters are trying to keep you from thinking carefully. They don't want you researching, and they really don't want you talking to friends, family, or trusted advisors, because that'll just mess up what they're trying to do. Next up, they might tell you it's a special opportunity just for you. They'll say things like, this product's top secret. I have insider information that no one else knows. Well, a legitimate advisor is going to give you written disclosures. They're going to answer all your questions and explain all the risks. And a legitimate advisor is going to discourage you from buying anything that you do not understand or trust. Next, that might be you've won. They'll tell you, congratulations, you've won the lottery. Or they'll tell you, congratulations, come to a free dinner. You can't win a lottery you never entered, and you're never going to have to pay to collect a real prize. Companies may offer you free lunch seminars, but that's because they're hoping if they give you free food, you're going to be obligated to buy from them. So just because it's free doesn't mean you should go. They might be like, I'm just like you. They're going to tell you everyone's making money on this deal, or our church friends all have agreed. Fraudsters know you're less likely to ask questions if you trust them, so they're going to associate what they're doing with your friends, your faith community, or your social groups as a shortcut to earn your trust. They're specially trained. You're going to be told things like, I'm an expert advisor, or I've managed these kinds of investments for 2 decades. They might tell you they're a certified specialist. The truth behind that is credentials alone do not guarantee expertise or the quality of someone's training. It's up to you to find out if a qualification is valuable. You'll want to do your research and contact the company they say they're with. Now, how to tell if a debt collector is legit or a scam. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the things you should ask, the things you should watch for. A legitimate debt collector will be able to give you their company name, their mailing address, as well as information on the debt you said you owe. So if you're going to verify a debt collector, start by asking them to provide their name, their company name, the company's street address, the telephone number, and in some states you can even ask for a professional license number. Also, if you need help verifying information they give you, you can contact your state attorney general or the state regulator. And if you need to find out how to figure out where your state regulator is, this website at the bottom can help you for the cfpb.gov. Also, warning signs you need to watch that the debt collector may be a scam. If they threaten you with criminal charges, that's a big one. There's only a few circumstances where debt can actually lead to an arrest. And legit debt collectors will never claim to have you arrested. If they refuse to give you a mailing address or a phone number, it could be a scam. If they ask for your personal finance information, never give it to them. You should never provide anyone with your personal finance information unless you are 100% sure they are legitimate. If you're having issues with debt collection, you can submit a complaint to the CFPB as well, with that website there at the bottom. Classic warning signs. We have classic warning signs for possible fraud and scams. 1, if it's contact from someone that's claiming to be the government, the bank, a business, or even family, and asks you to send them money. That doesn't mean it's legit, and you'll want to do your research. If they're claiming you've won a prize but need to pay money or the taxes up front now, you didn't win a prize. You'll never have to pay money or taxes for a prize. Also, think to yourself, did I even enter in a drawing? If they ask you to send them some form of currency by some form of transfer, this could be bank card, account information, credit card, money order, buying a gift card and sending them the numbers on the back. Asking for your money, that's also, they could be asking for account logins, bank card numbers, PIN numbers, the 3-digit on the back of the card. You don't want to give people these things because you don't know. Also, you should never give them even to people you do know. If they tell you don't pay now, you'll lose this amazing deal. See the quotation marks? It's not an amazing deal. They're trying to play on your emotions. They're trying to make you freak out. They want you to not think clearly or with common sense. Protect yourself. And for starters, by watching this video or coming to any of my other programs, you're already protecting yourself by making yourself smarter. The first thing you can do is educate yourself. Learn what these things are, research what might be going on, and never trust something straight to the face. You want to verify information, get the name, get the mailing address, the phone number. Like I said, if they have a ID number, you want the ID number. Always secure your devices. 2-step verification is a great thing. Just make sure you keep it up to date so you don't get locked out. Be skeptical. Never trust things face value, especially if it seems too good to be true. And always research businesses. Never buy anything from a business you don't know until you do the research. Monitor your financial statements. Make sure you check those monthly or even weekly. If you have a checkbook, balance it. If you have an app, use it to the best of your abilities and ask the bank if there's anything else you can do to help protect your account. Stay safe on social media. Again, 2-step verification is great to keep yourself from getting hacked. And don't just add people you don't know. You shouldn't have strangers on your social media. That can open you up to fraud and to scams. Job hunt securely. Use places like Indeed and LinkedIn and other job hunt sites. Don't just trust posts you see on Facebook or Instagram. And shop safe online. Make sure there's programs you can get and things you can pay for if you have the money to secure your web browser. Make sure if you're buying from a website, they have secure web browsers. Get things like Norton or VPN security. There's things out there that can help you shop safe online. If you don't trust a website, research it first. Tips to protect yourself. And we have said some of this before, and it's going to be a reiteration because we're talking about fraud. So reiterating some things is a great way to learn. First, never share your numbers or passwords for any of your accounts or your credit cards, and never give out your social security number. Next, never pay up front for a promised prize. If it's a prize, you shouldn't have to pay for it anyways. And always make sure you signed up, because if you didn't sign up, you didn't win it. Next, when you're given a sales pitch, ask for information in writing. Take time to read it over and compare prices. This is also great even if it's not a scam, because they might price you one thing and then say a different one later. Next, if it's too good to be true, then it most likely isn't true. My favorite saying. Number 5, you want to watch out when they say a deal or sale is only, quote, good today. And then they try to pressure you into acting quickly. It's probably not a good deal. Next, be careful when someone tries to play on your emotions or claim they need money urgently. They're trying to keep you from thinking with common sense, and they're trying to get you to react quickly. Never, ever click on a link or a QR code that you don't know about. Research it first and check it. If it's something to do with a restaurant or a store and you're not sure, call them. They'll tell you the truth. I had to do that with a Wendy's coupon one time. And finally, put your phone number on the National Do Not Call Registry. They legally cannot call you if you are on that registry. Doesn't mean it'll stop them, but at least you're taking those steps. If you think you or someone you know has been a victim, or you suspect a scam, here are a few important steps you should take. Contact your local police or the sheriff's office and report the scam. Then you'll want to contact your state attorney general. I've provided the website that can tell you the attorney general, I believe, for all states. If the victim is elderly or disabled, you'll want to contact your local Adult Protective Service agency. You can usually find this with CPS or DHHR. There's also a website and a phone number. If you or someone you care about has been a victim of fraud, scam, or financial exploitation, you'll want to report it to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. There's a website as well for that. And because all scams and frauds are different, there's other places you may have to reach out to, local, state, and even federal agencies, depending on how severe the situation is. Here are some handouts from the CFPB, and they go over some things, and they're great little lessons. So beware IRS scams. These are scams where people are going to claim to be the IRS. They may say you owe tax money or something else, or you might have filed wrong. So you want to make sure that it's all getting right. So as you can see here, the correct answers are scammers are going to be A, B, D, and F. Yell or insult at you. IRS will not do that. Threaten to deport, arrest, or jail you. The IRS will not do that. D, they'll ask for payment by email, text message, or through social media. The IRS will not. They will want it from your bank or a check, and they will tell you how to do that, but it will not be through something like that. And then F, they'll request tax payment by gift cards, prepaid debit cards, or a wire transfer. The IRS will not do that. Now, the IRS will, C, send you a bill through the U.S. Postal Service, first to let you know you owe taxes. Then E, they will offer you the opportunity to question or appeal the amount you owe. And G, they will instruct you to make payments to the United States Treasury. And then we have don't play games with your credit. This is a nice little crossword that you can try and see if you remember some of the terms we've gone over. You can get free blank blank each year at annualcreditreport.com. Or horizontally, you can place a blank alert with the credit reporting company if someone uses your personal information to open a new account. If your personal information was exposed in a data breach, you may want to place a security blank on your credit report. And regular blank your bank and credit statements for fraud and mistakes. And then blank blank includes when someone uses your personal information to open a new account in your name. And as you can see, the next slide gives you the answers to those questions, along with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, which are the three main credit reporting bureaus. Here is a thing on falling for scams and how it could be a disaster. Scammers con people out of their money during times of stress, and they might come up with a fake charity and ask for donations, or they'll try to sell you a phony cure or treatment during a health emergency. Never share your Social Security or your medical ID numbers, or your financial information with someone you do not know or trust. And be wary if someone asks you for money by wire transfer, gift card, or a mobile payment app, or if they ask you to cash their check and send a portion of the money back. Guard your card. This is another one from medical ID fraud. You want to keep your Medicare and Social Security cards secure, and don't share these numbers with anyone but your healthcare team or a trusted individual. And if someone calls and asks for your Medicare information, hang up immediately. Do not talk to them. And if you check your statements carefully and log into Medicare.gov to spot any possible fraud or billing mistakes. And if you have any suspicious activity, call 800-MEDICARE or by calling the Senior Medicare Patrol at the other number given. And then play it safe online. Protect your personal information while you're online. Being online lets you follow the news, connect with friends, family, shop, manage finances, and more. Even play games on your phone. So always consider the tips listed here. And if you ever find a scam, you can report it at ftc.gov/complaints or call 1-800 or 1-877-FTC-HELP. You can also visit staysafeonline.gov for more tips. And I just want to say thank you for watching this, and I hope it helps.